Good morning and welcome to First Parish Unitarian Universalist, Kingston, Massachusetts. I am the Reverend Judy Campbell. I am the community minister for this parish and a dear friend of your about-to-be settled minister, Emily Bruce, my dear friend. Yes, big smiles all around. I'm delighted to be here this morning with my guest, Domenique Durden, and my worship associate, Dennis Randall. Are there any announcements that I should be thinking about? No? Well then, Dennis, I would ask you to introduce Domenique.
Momo, aka Domenique Durden, is a 25-year-old poet who lives in Rockland, Massachusetts. She is an avid reader and a lover of all things artistic. Her passion has always been music, poetry, and the arts as a whole. Poetry is her truth. Being able to find healing through her platform as an artist is a gift that she is truly thankful for. Mo has worn many hats. She's been a journalist, a student, a sales associate, even a teacher. But the thing that she loves the most is being an artist. She has successfully self-published her first chat book, Birdsong, which is available through Amazon. When she isn't performing, Mo can be found working her 9-to-5, or reading, writing, and singing with a hot cup of tea not too far away. We are really pleased to have us with her today. Welcome, Momo.
And I would ask Dennis to read our opening words, and I will light the chalice.
We gather this hour as people of faith, with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning in celebration of life we share together.
And will you please stand as you are willing or able for our opening hymn. Hymn number, your program is wrong because I reversed the numbers again. It's hymn number 298, Wake Now My Senses.
Be
which we usually do. May we join together, please, in the silence and caring of our community, in silent meditation and prayer. In the beginning was the Word. In the beginning, it says, was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. So what happened? When did the Word that was both with us and of the God of all creation become a weapon of mass destruction? It says, in words we have the life and the light of men and women who would speak the truth, who would speak of love, who would speak of comfort and with compassion, who would speak words of greeting and of last farewell. It says, sort of, in the Word, we find light that shines forth in darkness, even though the darkness comprehends it not. Again, I ask, what happened? Did the darkness not know that it was without light until the power of another word came upon it like a serpent from the tree? A serpent who took this sacred gift of word to make the chaos more chaotic, to make the darkness darker, to make another living, breathing human being bleed. Is this what has become of it, this gift and presence, this word? Is this what we have done to it? Or by our own complacency stood by and watched it come about without a word of witness? What now, I ask? Is there still time? Is there still a single fragile thread of goodness left? Is there a word or syllable of hope hiding out there in the dark, no place to go, waiting to be found? The answer must be yes. In the beginning, it says, was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. I am a writer. Our guest speaker is a writer. Words are our blessings and our nemesis, our shackles and our wings, our prayer and our call to arms. May it be so. Now we've come to the time in our order of service where we share of our treasure to help in the work of this church and in this community.
The poetic voice is rooted in the use and repetition of specific elements, technical elements that make a poem recognizable as belonging to one poet. These elements are identified as grammar, syntax, form, music, subject matter, and last, the magic, the elusive connection between the reader and the poet that transcends the work. William Wordsworth, an English romantic poet, describes poetry as the spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings. If you ask people why they write poetry, you get a wide variety of answers, some for personal reasons, some for political reasons, others because they simply enjoy it. Others may say that poetry is the only way for them to understand their thoughts and their feelings. Many people will tell you that writing poetry encourages you to use language in original ways and gives your brain room to wander and explore new ideas. But one of the most valuable benefits is that it helps you rediscover your creative side by giving yourself space to think outside the box. One of the most common reasons people write poetry is to better understand themselves, or at least to try to figure out how they fit into the world around them. Writing poetry can be a therapeutic process because it allows people to explore their thoughts and feelings more creatively. By putting their thoughts into words and shaping them with others, poets can gain a better understanding of who they are and what they believe in. When we write poetry, we can reveal parts of ourselves that might otherwise remain hidden. We're less afraid to reveal those things because they don't have to get into the world. They can just stay in our notebooks or computer files where no one will ever see them. That way, we can be more honest with ourselves, and that can lead to more self-knowledge and understanding. Finally, I direct your thinking to the beloved Mary Oliver, who is best known for her awe-filled, often hopeful, reflections and observations of nature. A reviewer at the Harvard Review is quoted as saying, "Mary Oliver's poetry is an excellent antidote to the excesses of civilization. Too much flurry and inattention, and the baroque and cluttered conversations of our social and professional lives. Mary Oliver was a poet of wisdom and generosity, whose vision allows us to look intimately at a world not of our making."
Yeah, you go on down there, hold the railing. Mama can't stop. Hold the railing, she says. Gotta do it. This is Domenique Durden, also Momo the Poet. And I'm going to tell you how we met first. A couple of weeks ago, I did a service very similar to this in the Rockland Church that you know I serve. And I was all excited. I was going to do a service on Black poetic voices. And the person in charge of the worship committee called me up a couple of days before the service and said, Judy, I found you this wonderful poet who lives in Rockland, and she's going to read. I've invited her to read. And I said, oh, thank you. Well, the young man is new at the job, and what you don't do is bring a guest speaker to an already established, to a professional minister and an established service. But I am cool, and And he is learning, and my job is to help somebody learn about this. So I stuffed my irritation in my pocket, and I went on the website, and I fell in love right off the bat with this wonderful, wonderful woman. And I realized that it was a good lesson in, Judy, get over yourself. Because you need to do that, and you need those dope slaps every so often. So what has happened in the interim is that I have gotten to know this marvelous poet and young woman. We are 2 generations apart. We are 2 colors apart. We are 2 backgrounds apart. We're as different as chalk and cheese in many ways, but we speak the same language. And it's really exciting. So Mo has sent me she goes by Mo. Mo has sent me a list of poems, and I put them in order. And I'm going to ask you to read Confirmation first. Okay. Close and slow.
This poem is entitled Confirmation. I asked the stars if you were the one today. In response, I got a family of deer, a swan, and green lights all the way home.
It's an afterthought, because she sent me 4 poems. I said, come on, I need more. And so she sent me 2 other ones, and this one I said, what do we all need but confirmation? And we can take that confirmation from all kinds of things. Mo, what happens inside you when you're getting ready to write a poem?
There's often this feeling of almost like nervous energy, but not nervous in a bad way, just nervous like something is coming and I don't know what it is. And so I usually feel it like right in my stomach, and I'm just like, okay, what is it? What's about to happen? And usually a poem comes after that. And sometimes the poem isn't completely finished. Sometimes I could write an entire 2-page poem, and other times it's like I have 1 line and this is the only thing that I have for like 6 months. But, for the most part, it's just like this feeling of almost like magic is about to happen. And I feel like that's kind of like an apt way to describe it, because usually it's magic that happens. So, yeah.
I'm going to ask you what to read Confirmation again, because lots of particularly short poems really need to be heard twice. Sure. But what prompted this particular poem?
So, as you know, I am getting married in a few months.
I was going to announce that.
Sorry. So, yes, I am getting married in a few months. Thank you. And I'm very excited about it, if you couldn't tell. But before my now fiance asked me to marry him, I had asked for a sign, because I'm very into signs, and just I need to know if I'm doing the right thing. And so I said, before I left the house, I was taking my mother to work, and I said, if John, my fiance, is the right person for me, give me a sign that I cannot mistake. And literally, as I was driving down the street, I saw a family of deer, a massive swan, where I don't live anywhere near the water, so it was very strange for there to be the swan was like this big. And he was just in the middle of the street, like stopping traffic. And I was like, all right, I got it. And then, of course, I got green lights all the way to my mother's job and all the way home. And I was like, okay, I get it now.
So, love, would you read that again now
Of
that
course.
we know what was happening?
Confirmation. I asked the stars if you were the one today. In response, I got a family of deer, a swan, and green lights all the way home.
Oh, yeah. You're not nervous anymore now.
No.
I told you they were nice. You are. You're wonderful. This confirmation leads me directly into Heaven's Light. Would you read that, please?
Of course. Heaven's light. Soft is the sunlight that so ignorantly clamors through our windows. We are one tangled soul inhabiting this space. Lend me your ear. I have a joke to tell you. In it, the punchline is my life without you in the picture. A half-hearted attempt at a favorite dish that ends with me ordering pizza and not eating altogether. You recover all that is lost to me, and then some. Calm the waves of this ocean heart. I am satisfied. Reckless is the girl who stands on the ledge, and you make me feel like I'm standing on the ledge, and still I refuse to jump. Hold me here. Hold this heart of mine steady. Calm the waves. We can worry about how we'll recover from this life later, but for now, I want to watch you, sleeping in this ethereal light. Come away with me. Tell tomorrow to wait until tomorrow to be itself. But for now, we are out of the office, so we'll have to take a message. I want to see the sunlight on your face again and again and again until the pines decay and we are dust and sunlight.
I love this. What brought this poem to you?
This poem in particular realistically didn't have any meaning until I met John. And I know that people say like, oh, my life didn't have meaning until I met my significant other. But I really genuinely mean that.
He's a peach of a guy, by the way.
He is a wonderful man. And I've often found that a lot of the love poems that I've written previously, it seems like they were written for him. I just didn't know that I was writing them for him. So yeah, this one is definitely about my fiance. And it just so happens that, you know, he came to me after I wrote the poem. So it's almost like I'm, you know.
You were preparing the way.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you to read I Count the Times in My Life. And I read this and thought, it sounds as much like a prayer as it sounds like a poem. Do you want to tell us a little bit about it before you read it?
Sure. So I was in a writing slump for about, let's say 2 months. And anyone who's a writer can tell you that when inspiration is flowing, it's flowing, but when there's none, it is rough. And I was sitting at my kitchen table, and I had a pomegranate, which is not a fruit that I eat often, but every so often I'm just like, you know what, I could go for a pomegranate. And I'm sitting there, and I'm cutting into this pomegranate, and I just stop, and I said, oh my God. That's the poem. And I just started like frantically typing away on my phone, writing this poem because this pomegranate inspired me. Because the last time that I had eaten a pomegranate whole, I think I might have been 9. Right. So it was very strange. But every time I eat a pomegranate, it's because something is happening or something is changing. And so the change that was occurring was what inspired this poem via the pomegranate.
The poem.
And this poem is entitled The Rebirth. I can count the times in my life where I've eaten a pomegranate fruit whole. 2. Once when I was just a girl sitting at the kitchen table trying to discover herself. I was 9, halfway to the self-imposed expiration date. I'm 26 now. 8 years past my intended shelf life. Still eating the geode fruit when I need to find myself. Wishing on every arrow, turning every stone. Let the blood of this fruit cleanse me. Let it kill me. Let it birth me again.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. But as we all know, life isn't all sunshine and flowers and unicorns and puffy clouds and falling in love. The voice of the poet, we often say, I say all the time, and it's not new. The pen is mightier than the sword, and poetry is a way we can get stuff out that we might not ever otherwise be able to get out. And I personally have written some serious, really good poems when I have been so freaking mad, or hurt, or troubled. And I'd like you to read Bitter Poem and tell us about how that came into being.
Should I tell you about it before or after?
Before.
Okay. So the bitter poem, I was very angry.
Stay close to the mic.
I was very angry when I wrote this poem. For context, I had just lost my grandmother, who was my only living grandparent. And then about a month after that, I ended up having to bury one of my friends. So it was not a good summer for me. And naturally, anyone who loved someone as much as I did would be devastated, angry, rife with bitterness. And I was. And to an extent, I still am, because I miss my grandmother a lot. But this poem came out of that because, of course, we know all of the stages of grief, and I was definitely in that still very angry denial phase. That being said, this is the bitter poem. God is not good. God is not great. I will not thank him for this food. He will not sanctify it or purify it. I think he has bigger fish to fry with smaller mouths to feed. I think there are miracles more deserving of a prayer than my measly Wendy's chicken sandwich. If I choke, I choke. This prayer isn't about a sandwich anyways. The prayer is about the blood on the Ave, the body in the bag, the hearts that broke when the coroner came for collection, a real grim reaper. This prayer is about the ache that I feel, ache and ache and ache, and then nothing. Nothing until something is back, and the something is ache. This prayer is about all the hurt we never talked about, how it wraps around us, just gently enough that we don't notice it choking us. And it does choke us, I mean. This prayer is about the rosaries around our necks, the ashes that sear our tongues. How does God love us if he lets us die alone? How does he love us if all he does is harvest our souls?
Just going to be silent after that one for a few minutes. How does God love us if he lets us die alone? How does he love us if all he does is harvest our souls? Big words, honey. Big words. Thank you. For the last poem we're going to read this morning, I'm going to ask Mo to read Homecoming in 4 parts. And then remind you all that at the end of this service, she will be over at coffee hour with us. And please come and sit with us and ask her questions. She's really nice, and she's really interesting. She's quite a lady. How did this poem come about, Mo?
This poem came from, I was in college at the time. I think I might have been in my junior year of undergrad. And some things had transpired, and I was just feeling very lost. Just almost like I didn't know who I was anymore, and I didn't know how to get back to myself. And so I wrote this poem because I was trying to get back to myself. This is Homecoming in 4 parts. 1. Here I am, crawling out of the cradle of this clawfoot bathtub. There is a bottle of cheap wine next to a couple of candles, with Coltrane's saxophone singing sweet nothings into my ear. This is what I call intimacy. All the lights down low, all the distractions off, just me, myself, and I. 2, it's time I did some gardening. But how do you focus on a garden when your house is burning down? I look for myself in the wildfire because I too am raging about everything. I'm still searching for the space to cry and to yell. 3, hate is always the hardest weed to pull from the garden of your heart and the heaviest wave to drown under. 4, I am a quiet storm. I am looking for myself in every thunderstorm. I write in black and blue bruised ink for all the times I've bludgeoned myself, so even in death I will be beautiful. I am dousing myself in the holy water that is gasoline, setting flame to every impurity. If you see my body, tell her I'm coming back to get her in a puff of smoke, or in the sour of the fermented grape, or in a torrential downpour. If you see my body, tell her I'm coming back. Thank you.
Hate is always the hardest weed to pull from the garden of your heart and the heaviest wave to drown under. I can get my sermons for the next 3 years out of your poetry. Mo, are you coming back up here? Yes. I want to thank you so much for reading to us and talking to us this morning. Stay right here. See why I love this job? Just to look at. Our closing hymn is number 331, Life is the Greatest Gift of All. And I chose this because, we ministers choose the hymns very carefully. We don't shut our eyes and just kind of poke at the table of contents. And words are the greatest gift of all. There are gifts and there are weapons, but our poets' words talk about our lives. And so, and to live is to give voice to what you care about. To be a poet is to give voice to what you're passionate about, good or bad. But I want to thank you all for coming, because I think Mo is absolutely wonderful, and it's my delight to be able to share her with you. And again, please come and talk to her after the service, because she's even more fun up close. So, life is the greatest gift of all.
Maybe.